Hey, what's going on, guys? Major Williams here with another episode of the Majoration Podcast, where we talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and majorvational. Today's guest is a visionary, creative, cultural curator, and the founder of GF The Lifestyle Market, a luxury brand rooted in wellness, beauty, fragrance, and intentional living. Known for his moody, immersive experiences like, excuse me, Scent and Sip and Evening Brew, George Foster isn't just selling products. He's crafting atmospheres, building community, and setting a new standard for soulful entrepreneurship, from fragrance to fashion, from pop-up markets to curated gatherings. George has turned personal style and spiritual presence into a movement that's felt far beyond temecula. His brand is elevated, but never out of reach, elegant, yet grounded in authenticity. Whether you're here for inspiration, strategy, or alignment with purpose, lean in, because this masterclass is going to be a building block for anyone that wants to have a brand that speaks and speaks without shouting. George Foster, welcome to the Majoration Podcast, my brother.
Hello, Major. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I love the idea of being here and be able to talk to you about so much going on in the world of lifestyle market.
No, absolutely. So I guess let's kind of start from the beginning in regards to your inspiration. So when it comes to creativity and curation and just imagination, a lot of adults as we get older tend to lose that because life, right? So to be able to still be in that space to where you're creating, still curating experiences, what was your inspiration to take that and bottle that up and create a career for yourself doing exactly what you enjoy doing?
Well, as interior lifestyle, as interior designer, I always like the idea of designing space that really kind of presents somebody's storyline. So designing my space and really connecting with clients, that basically was the core of our business. And it still is. Be able to understand what you do for living, how you live, where you're coming from, where you going, where's your goal, how your family dynamic actually work at home. That's basically was the core. I realized at an early age in the industry that the only way I will be able to stay long, because I get very bored really fast, is be able to understand everybody. If I base my design based on trend, then I will at one point I will get tired and I will be bored. So meeting new people, new stories was basically very fascinating. So I would ask like where you work, what you do, who sleep in the right side of the bed, who sleep in the left side of the bed, and like why would you need that information so I can decide what kind of decor and what kind of picture frame I will put on either side. So I got to my process of interior design got a little bit deeper. So again, understanding people, understanding basically where they're coming from, where they're going. It was basically the inspiration for me to even move forward when it comes to interior design. And then moving forward when it comes to my lifestyle market, it was all about basically developing something that where people can escape. Interior design is basically turned to be very into more into the feminine side. So my brand being black, it basically allow a gentleman to really walk it into my space and be like, I can chill here. I like design. I can purchase things and take it home. I want this pair of drink glasses. I want a little bit of this shampoo or body lotion, everything else, because so how the atmosphere it give you a gentleman lounge, but it's still very sophisticated. And sometimes I told some of the client that I was like, oh, it's so masculine. Like if you paint our entire space in white, this is a very feminine space where all the crystals and everything else. But the fact that it's in black, it's just gonna refine everything and welcome everyone.
Would you say that with what you do, because based upon what you said, that you really value building community and experience, right? And
Yes.
then just kind of talk about how, because, talk about how psychology kind of plays into this as well, because even with the questions that you ask, it lets me know that you're tapped into psychology. Because when you're asking like what side of the bed that you sleep on, or because you're thinking about all those different ways on how it's going to benefit them, in their
Yes.
particular living space. So how important is community and also the psychology of gauging what your clients say they want versus what you believe that would be more beneficial for them?
One of the secret when it comes to interior design is basically is understand and be able to listen to your client. That's a very important key. And be able to kind of program your brain to really develop a more understanding what is that they need and then present it to them. Sometimes people can articulate, hey, this is what I want. So you have to create visual, you have to create storylines to really kind of romance the process for them to really identify. They say, yes, that's the color palette. Yes, that's the duration. Yes, that's exactly how I want to feel. So it's a lot of psychology that go into it, and that's part of interior design. They train us for us to be able to connect emotionally, physically, in all different way, intellectually with clients to be able to understand. Because sometimes it's not, you can't, you just don't know how to really explain. Like I remember one client always said, "You are a house doctor." And they're like, yeah, like you should add you MD at the end of your signature. I'm like, well, because you're really analyzing this situation. You're really going so deeper than basically, oh, right now we're using all white. This is the trend. Let's go with that. You're like, you want to know everything about me and how I work, so then you can develop this, and then I can turn around and have this beautiful space, and my friends and family can walk in and be like, oh my God, this is so you. They don't even look at you as a designer. They look like me. Like it's me. It's this is my space. You represent my design beautifully and represent my story. So that was the beauty of that, and that's the reason why they call me a lifestyle interior designer versus just an interior designer, because I was connecting a little more deeper, and I was basically enhancing the lifestyle, not just enhancing a living room or a bedroom.
No, I think that's a special talent because obviously there are a lot of interior designers and everyone has their own method to their madness, right?
Yes, they do.
And we all respect that, but just kind of hearing that philosophy, even for me, that resonates with me because I actually operate on that same palette when it
Mm,
comes to engaging with clients, when it comes to engaging with other individuals in different industries. I am a true observer. I love to listen because ultimately, this, they give you everything that you need. They give you all the data. Therefore,
yeah.
you can go in and kind of process it and reposition it and represent it to them as well. But as a creative and a curator, it has certain symmetry to being an artist, right?
Yes.
Traditionally and historically, there's been a very fine line or hard line for the transition when it comes to business. Yes, you may have a talent, but can you run a business? And a lot of them have
Yes.
struggled in that particular area. How is that process for you? And
Woo.
and what advice could you give to other creatives who kind of struggle with that are looking to kind of merge the two worlds? So everyone, real quick, I wanted to just share the amazing work that the Majoration Podcast is doing. We're already getting so many great testimonials because of the guests that we've had on and the stories that they've shared and their actual testimonies about their success and their journey. And that journey and their successes are helping other people fulfill their missions in life. And that's super important. And that's the point and purpose of the Majoration Podcast. We talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. And now we are expanding our reach and saying, hey, if you have a personal brand, if you have a business, if you have a service, and you would like to advertise on the Majoration Podcast, feel free to reach out to us at the Majoration Podcast at gmail.com or send me a DM or jump in the comments and we will follow back up with you. We have pre-roll, we have post-roll, we have also sponsored advertisements that are available slots for you. And this is the early bird because we're still growing and let's grow together. So reach out to us now, get your opportunity to be seen by so many people with so many influential speakers on this podcast.
Okay, completely honest. Interior designers, they are not business people. We are not. You can train yourself to become one, but we are not going to balance the books. We are not going to do all of this. This is completely out of our spectrum. We don't do those kind of things. That's the reason why you have to link where a finance or a person that's more operation and be able to kind of guide you through the process. In my case, I got to go to interior design to then direct and coach and train team of interior designer, young interior designers, to then basically be the brand ambassador, and also to be the director for when it comes to creative director for interior design for Eastern Island in the Middle East. So with that said, I was responsible for numbers of my team. I was responsible for execution of design. I was responsible for social media and present and lifestyle projection. I was responsible for developing and designing also to furniture and basically kind of presenting what's going to be the trend for the next season or next month. So it was a lot of different hats that I had to wear. So I was blessed to have a team, and at the time, the owner of the business, he actually coached me through the journey. This is how you switch this hat. This is how I go. Do I have make mistakes through that journey? Oh yes, big time. I have. But then that's basically what it is. I would encourage any young interior designer or anybody that is aspiring to be part of this industry to definitely partner with somebody that is more into the finance, somebody that can organize you and your schedule, somebody that can really know how to basically charge clients and make sure that things are basically moving in order. They can control the shipping and receiving and ordering of product. It's a journey for that. And I was blessed. I have my husband. He's very much into numbers, so he basically really look into those little details for me and make sure that I stay in track. Even for here for the lifestyle market, he still look into the hey, how are we doing? Do things are moving forward? Though you're missing something, why is it missing? So for that. But I already have my training, so then I can basically kind of direct things and move things along. But it's a combination.
No, absolutely. Well, I guess it comes down to one of my sentiments. I believe that as a creator, as an artist, as someone, an interior designer, mentors are extremely important. And
Hmm.
also getting out of your own way sometimes and delegating some of those tasks. And I guess one of the things I guess that you did, you acknowledged where your strengths and weaknesses were, and you
Oh yeah.
surrounded yourself with the right situations and people, which is essential, right?
Well, this is the secret. If you really want to scale any business, you have to sustain yourself with other people that can really help you. I might be the head, but it's a neck that holds the head. And that neck has to be very strong. I might be the crown, but it's a head that holds steady that crown. And that's
Right.
something that we have to really understand as you want you to scale your business to the next level. So at the end of the day, I make all the decisions. I know the direction to go, and not always is a pleasant conversation that you're going to have with your team. Whereas I want to launch this collection, I want to do that. It's not the right time. Like it is the right time. And you know what? And we push and push and push, and it become the right time for it. So it's great. It's great. But then sometimes it's not the right time. But also, too, as a leader, I have to understand and listen. It's not always what I want and when I want it. It's sometimes it's a time for everything. So I also have to kind of listen to my own instinct as a creative designer, basically 22 years, to really understand like okay, what direction I need to go, where we need to go right now.
I think a lot of people will benefit from hearing that perspective because I've been around a lot of creators the last 25 plus years. I myself I started out as a music artist, as a
Oh
producer
wow, cool.
in Hollywood and things of that nature, and obviously just evolved. I'm 50 years old now, so a lot has changed. A lot is
You
different.
do not look 50 though.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Uh, but but would you say that you've probably gotten some of the best experiences throughout the actual in between in the journey? Because I heard you say I've made a lot of mistakes, but is it true? I mean, my sentiment is yes, but is it true to you that you learn so much and gain so much wisdom and value from the actual mistakes and journey along the way? And could you kind of speak on that as well?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you do. You get to see ups and downs. You get to see your mistake. If you're really present, if you're really in the moment, if you be able to learn really fast, and be able to capture those mistakes and master them to perfection. And as a young interior designer, I make a lot of mistakes. I thought I was listening to clients and I was not. I thought that I was directing a design process properly in a probably was not, but it take a time, it take a level of being mature and really taking your ego, all your emotions out of the occasion and really look at the situation and be like, hey, listen, this is a mistake and it's okay, and then we can fix it, and acknowledging when it's a mistake and it's okay. Like, I'm okay making mistake at this DNA today. I'm okay making mistakes. I'm okay jumping and maybe doing some stuff and like, okay, this is good. I make this mistake and it's easy to acknowledge, but how can we now correct it? And I believe if we go into this direction, then we can correct this mistake. That's something that it comes with experience. Because the young designers that you make a mistake, no, this was my feeling, and I feel that this is supposed to go like this, and I feel that was, like feeling do not direct a business. Something that I had to learn. Not because you feel, and basically it's always the right. It's science behind things, and basically we have to be able to put those things together. The
No,
creativity and the logistic of running a business.
it takes a lot of maturity and it takes a lot of
That's
self-reflection as well to help you
a
get to
lot.
that moment, right? So talk to me about the experience, right? So you have a blend of fragrance, fashion, you have the scent and sip. So you have these certain experiences. What was some of the premise behind it? I know that you care deeply about community and building that, but how did
Yes.
you come up with that blend for that to be your anchor to draw people in to your world?
Well, again, George Foster in the lifestyle market, as I call it, the lifestyle market, is supposed to be a one place where you can come and enhance your lifestyle. So beside we having beautiful developed artisanal products as hand lotion, hand wash, shower gel, body oils, body scrubs, and more, um, we also want to ensure that you can come and indulge yourself into all this different product in this space without feeling like you need to have all this at home. That's the reason why our store is designed the way it is, where it's more a community kind of based kind of space where people can come in. We can create events like we hosting a brew evening where we're going to have our barista car basically activated, and then going to create coffee based drinks as everybody just socialize and we network. This is for me is very important. You're able to sense and experience all the different fragrances, and you don't have to feel the pressure like, oh my god, I need to buy something. I better walk out with a candle or some kind of product. No, I want to connect. So basically, is the reason why I call it a lifestyle market. The same thing, we have a fragrance lab would allow you to sit down and gain more a creative juice and basically develop your own body scent, and you really formulate it, you experience it over 50 different fragrances, oil that I created, and basically you're trying to figure out which one it worked for you, and you mix it with two or three or four different ones, and you're like, whoa. I sometimes get amazed by seeing what people are creating because it so represent their personality. So it's a beautiful thing. So that's basically what it is. We also have like bar and entertaining goods where you can say, hey, having a dinner party, and I just don't need to buy the entire store. I just need, like, maybe I need to introduce a new glassware. I need to introduce a new place for my dinner party just to sparkle it a little bit. So that's basically is the core of us. And keeping the door open, we have a social club as well, where it's basically members sign up and they basically get a lot of perks by being members. But also too, that is technically is my board members. So I'm very selected who I choose for them. They're the one that know what's the next projection for the business. They know why it's the new product going to be launched. They experience any fragrance and any other product that we might thinking or any other innovation or installation that we're going to do. They are the first one, and they're normally business owners. They're basically home wives and developers, and they basically are my social club, and they come in here, they get a drink for a barista, the shop, they know what they want. But then when we get together, we have our core quarterly dinner parties and events, that's where the magic happens. So I call it my technically my social board.
That's a great concept. I consider myself well read in regards to I read a lot. I also have mentors I've had for over 20 plus years that are extremely successful. And if you look at historically of all the teachings of some of the greatest philosophers,
Mhm.
not knowing if you have or haven't, from your conversation, it seems like that you're really tapped into understanding that, because a byproduct of community is the connection that you make with people. And one thing that stood out to me is that, you don't want people to come in and feel necessarily that pressure of having to buy something, buy, or don't leave
Mhm.
unless you buy something, or you're going to disappoint me, right? It's one thing
Right.
to have something like that, but to make people feel that way, I'm just let you know that's a byproduct of how you make people feel versus what you say or offer. And that goes so much further because you have people talking great about you when your
Oh,
presence is not
thank you.
even, and so that goes a long way because you just never know how you impact others. So that could be 20 other customers. Maybe that person didn't buy anything, but because they had such a great immersive experience, they're going to be talking
Mhm.
about this in story form for the next 10 years. uh, just referring. But that's the power of truly being authentic and creating
Yes.
those conversations. So like I said, I feel like you really tapped in, whether you've, read certain things and applied that, or it's just part of your just genuine nature. I applaud you for that because you're definitely on the right path.
Thank you.
Not that you need my cosign, but you're
No,
definitely
no, but you know what? I feel really good. I see myself as the new kid in the block when it comes to the Inland Empire. Temecula, Marietta. I feel like I'm the new kid. And for me, I want to respect the people that have been doing business in this town for a very long time. I want to also to embrace the community as well. I want to learn from them. And people ask me, well, why would you want to learn from us? You're the one who have been exposed to so much internationally. Like, we're supposed to learn from you. I'm like, no, you'll be surprised. I want to learn more about you and how do you really handle this. And this is my point of view. And how do you basically have grow your business? Because it's a science, it's a story behind it. It's a passion behind every single business. I was told by the Temecula city that is that we have at least 7,500 new business license to be approved and give for coming businesses besides the one we already have already open. This is an entrepreneur town.
yeah,
This is huge.
yeah.
So for me, it's like, oh my god, I'm like in the perfect spot. So that made me extremely happy. So having in the space where I can welcome everyone and we can connect, it's not about always about a sale. That's something I have clear. When you selling, when you building a brand that you wanted to have in transition to be even greater and greater, you don't really focus on basically on the number. You let your team do that. Let us
Right.
focus on that. You need to sell. We have to pay the bills. We have to do this. We have to do this. You focus as the creative director. You focus on how can you deeply connect and be the space that they want to come in and dream with you and play with you. And that's basically my focus. I want to be able to bring people here, sit down, have a glass of wine or coffee, smell a scent, and it feels different. Especially, we have a responsibility as an artist to be able to connect to what's happening today outside there. That's how we reflect it to the world is very important. So for me, how my space is escape to what's happening outside there. I'm not a politician. I'm not a doctor. I'm not none of those things, and I cannot deeply tap in any of those different subjects. Besides using my own point of view. But what I can do, I can create events that will distract you, that will relax you, that will hug you, that will really embrace you to be like, hey, let me be in the moment today and this feel good. And get that candle and go home and turn it on and say, I'm going to have a spot today at home and reconnect with your own self. That's what I can create as an artist in today's market. So that's our vision.
That's fantastic, and you're absolutely right. You're coming on board at a prime time. I myself have been in the area last four years, right? And just having one of those, entrepreneurial minds, I saw a void or a gap or something that was missing, which is why I went and bought and created Marietta TV, which is the first local channel in this
Yes.
particular area, right? And so, although a lot of people, and it's growing, just like it's new and it's building and it's growing. We just shot the seventh episode segment today for the local
Woo.
news, but it's definitely what you've created is still very much for you to own that space, because I haven't seen anything that exists like this. And it comes down even to how what stood out to me. I showed my wife instantly. I was like, babe, look at this. Like, he has a store, but he's not really talking about the store. Like, it's just like this really fly music, and it's just the nostalgia of some of the things that are there. And like, for me, having a marketing background, I understood exactly what it was, but to know that that existed in our area and someone was thinking that way, I just had the pom poms out for you, man.
Thank you.
I thought it
Thank
was
you.
brilliant.
To be honest with you, it's very rewarding to hear as a professional as you are, um, to hear that point of view because as an artist, we basically always on our own song. We know the direction we want to go. We just working. We getting this. We got to get this. Get it outside. No, that's not my vision. That's not my voice. That's not my tone of voice. We have to do it. But we never get the time to really stand straight and really look into like, wow, this is what people project see in us, you know? So it's beautiful to see it. And what that does, that propel us to continue doing what we do. So I have to say thank you so much for that point of view. It really meant a lot to me.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. So, what is it like for someone who is a passerby, someone that just randomly just walks into your shop? Like, what is some of the questions they ask, or is there excitement? Is there like, what is this, and how do you kind of bridge that conversation so when they walk out, they're like, dang, I really like this place, right? How does that
Yeah.
conversation go?
Well, first we welcome anyone that walks in through a door. Sometimes we see people driving slowly, trying to figure out what's happening inside there, and we just swing the door open and say, "Hey, we open, come in," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they come in. What we do basically is just make everybody feel comfortable. The space can be very intimidated, how created it is. So what we do basically is just ask questions. I introduce myself if I'm here, or if any of my other staff is here. They introduce themselves and say, "Hi, welcome," and they say, "Let me tell you about George Foster," and we start talking. Sometimes they are client that walk in and say, "Oh, hi, how are you? I can help you. What's your name?" And they say the name, and we go through everything. And what are you looking for? Well, I just want to experience yourself, and I guide them through it. I go to every single area of the store, and then at the end they ask me, "I'm sorry, what's your name?" And I say, "I'm George Foster." And they're like, "Why you didn't say that at the beginning?" I'm like, "Because I just want to connect with you. I really want to help you. It's all about what you want today. It's all about what you need. It's not really about who I am and what I do. And yes, I'm the owner or not. It was basically more about connecting with you." So I think that people see that passion, they see that respect that I have to them, and the appreciation I have for them to come into my space and enjoy it and love our product, that they basically fall in love. They walk out of the store with a love and a given behavior. They say, "We receive love today. We will respect that, and we will basically help to into their process, and without any judgmental or any other point of view in mind. So I think that that's what people really looking on today.
So, when it comes to your success and the things that you're building and curating, are there any non-negotiables that you apply from a ritual perspective or a process perspective that kind of keeps you centered and keep you aligned on the focus and vision of what you're building?
That's a really good question. Anything non-negotiable standards. It's very important for me. Everybody have their own standard. I base on mine. I refuse to lower my standard for anyone. self-respect and respect to others. That's something that I don't negotiate. I don't negotiate those things, no matter the situation. And I just basically focus on that quality as well. I design a space that I want to present best to my knowledge. It might be another best is somewhere outside there in Temecula or any other town that's well more curated and designed, but this is to my standard. This is to my capability, and I love it and I embrace it, and it's mine and I own it. So those are the kind of standards that I made. I don't compare myself, I don't compare nor my clients with each other. That's something that we do. We treat everybody as they are the most luxurious client. Just walk in, either they spend only a $30 to $350 in a shopping spree with us. I respect them and I try to keep that way. That's something that I don't negotiate. So myself or my kids or anybody that work here, we make sure that we treat everybody equally, with all this respect and love.
I love that. I love that. Um, I guess, to close, I would say the one thing I wanted to know about, I saw a video about, I guess, the curated event when it comes to, and you spoke a little bit about it, with the fragrances or whatnot. Like,
Yes.
what are some of the things that people say after those type of events? And because I think it's extremely unique to have that type of experience.
Yes.
And how's that atmosphere? Like, what could get people excited to come and be a part of the next one that you would do?
I think everybody's seeking for individuality. I think everybody's seeking for a voice in this world. I think everybody want to have a foot front at the door, and by starting by creating your own sense. I think I always say a beautiful space, it can be most luxurious and you have beautiful expensive furniture, but it doesn't smell good. You don't want to sit here. No matter how much money you spend, I don't want to sit in this space. It doesn't smell good. The same thing when it comes to people. You might have this great aura, you might look amazing, but if your scent is not really in hand with your beautiful persona, then it's something that we need to balance. So having this fragrance lab is like me welcome you to the inside of my kitchen, sit down on my table, and then literally sit down with each of the guests, and then we work into it. And I even ask, so what do you like? What you like to smell like, and they start going through and they start reading all the notes and everything else. So it's a beautiful experience for everyone that basically want to have something that represents their personality. So that's the beautiful thing. We have some jazz music playing in the background. We offer this some nice cocktails and mocktails, drinks. We have some cheese and fruits on the side. So they actually really in a zone. And they basically kind of disconnect themselves for everything. And they just like, oh George, come over here. I'm adding this. What do you think about that? Oh, I love this. Just add something else. Let me bring you something else. And then they just feel like then like adult becoming kids and they just playing and they just really doing something for their own self. No
Right.
matter if you're a business owner, you're a mom, you're a dad, you're running the world, doesn't really matter. When they come here, they become kids and they're playing in my lab. So I just love to see their face expression, and then how the fragrance. This is me. Oh my god, I love it. That's a beautiful feeling. That's a beautiful feeling. So I encourage everyone to come in and have the experience because they're very fascinated. And we're going to have that on basically on July 3rd. We will have a walk-in, no reservation needed for the fragrance lab. If you decide to sit down and I want to create something right now, okay, let's go ahead and do it. So it's going to be quite fun for them to be able to do that.
No, that's so good. I look forward to figuring out some ways to collaborate with you on that as well too, and just
Thank you.
put together some kind of partnership. In this area, people are always looking for something to do, obviously, and I
Yes.
think that's just like that's a great segue to kind of build community as well and bring people together
Hmm.
for a different type of experience. So
Definitely.
I absolutely love that concept. Well, George, man, you are a lightning rod. Shout out to you and your family, and your
You.
business and your creative genius and your mind, and just and I know I'm not speaking just for myself. I'm sure so many other people follow you on your journey and have been inspired and be able to extract certain things and add it to their repertoire as well. And that's what we're here for, right? We're here to add value. And if someone is impacted by something that I've shared speaking on stages in front of thousands of people, or a body of work that you've created, then we're all for that, right? And as I mentioned earlier, being an artist, but also being into business and entrepreneurship, I find myself more connected to making sure that I acknowledge when I see talent and other individuals that are super successful or even starting out. I think it's
Hmm.
important to give that acknowledgement and shine that light, because I know the roller coaster of it.
Yeah.
And and it's just good to see things coming to fruition, because at some point, everything that you're doing right now started with a thought, a dream, or an ideal. And so the fact that you're pushing forward and you're creating, and you're at this point right now, I just, like I
Hmm.
say, I'm just extremely proud for you, and I see
Thank you.
so much brightness in your future, my brother. And like I say, anything I can do to support and help here on my end or at Marietta TV, we're all on board for you.
I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for bringing me into your platform today. It has been amazing to have this great conversation that don't always get the opportunity to do it. I think that this will inspire a lot of young creative people that we have a lot in our town to really continue pushing and really find out the voice, not because you're not a doctor or lawyer, that means that you're not important. You can be a very creative person and it's a place for you, but it just takes a lot of work for you to be able to get your voice air. And and I have already have done that. So if I can mentor anyone to that go through the journey and try to really find the voice and find the creative stage, I will more than happy to do that too.
That sounds good. Well, it sounds like you just put your hand up to be a part of one of my workshops and panels. So we will be inviting you to come out
There
to
you go. Thank you so
jump in
much.
as well too, man. Listen, man, this is another amazing segment here on the Major Motivation Podcast, where we talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. Today with George Foster. We greatly appreciate him. So make sure to follow him on all his social media handles. We will have those in the show notes, so you'll be able to follow his Instagram. Go to the website and get the store location so you can go there and immerse yourself in an amazing experience. And make sure to send me a message and let me know how your experience was. And hopefully you'll be able to come when we collaborate on something and be a part of the
Yes, I
community as
love
well.
that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much again for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. See you guys next episode. George, I'll talk to you in a bit, my brother.
Thank you.
Take care.